Hello everyone, welcome to the channel Unshackling Sudokus and Puzzles. I am Kishore and today we are going to solve a Broken Arrow Sudoku created by Čedomir Milanović. Čedomir is a Serbian author and this Sudoku was created by him as part of the Logic Masters India contest called Nuovo Cinema. The link to the Sudoku contest will be given in the description of the video. The contest is over but the puzzle PDF is still available for download. So if you guys want to try the puzzles from the contest, you can do so. The online solving interface for the Sudoku is also added in the description of the video. So if you want to give a try, please do so. Moving on to the rules. You have to place the digits from 1 to 9 in each row, column and box, standard classic rules. In addition to that, there are some grey lines given in the grid as you can see. And the digit on one end of the line will be the sum of the other digits on the same line, and digits may repeat on a line. So normally in arrow Sudokus, we will have the circle given at one end of the line and the digit in the circle will be the sum of the digits on the other end of the, sum of the digits on the arrow stem. But here it's up to the solver to determine which end of the line contains the circle. Right? We don't know which end of the line contains a circle, so solver has to determine. One thing we know for sure is that the circle cannot be in the middle because this is given in the rules. The digits on one end of the line is the sum of the other digits on the same line. So circle cannot be in the middle of the line. It has to be present at one end of the line. So with that, we'll start solving the Sudoku by Čedomir. So there are quite a few 9s I can see in the grid. Let us start with the 9s. So there is a 9 in column 8 and column 9. So which means that 9 has to go into one of these two cells. Now we can be certain that 9 cannot be in the middle of the line because we know for sure that 9 can only be present at the end of the lines. Because if 9 is present in the middle of the line, then we'll be getting a total which is greater than 9. So which means that 9 has to be in row 8, column 7. And similarly, using these two 9s, we'll get the 9 in one of these two cells in box 7. 9 can't be in the middle of the line because then these two cells will be violated as per arrow rule. So 9 would have to go here, right? And continuing with the 9s, we have a 9 in row 4 and row 6 and in column 1. So which means 9 must go into one of these two cells. A 9 may very well be here. We just don't know it. And there is a 9 in column 4 and column 5 and 9 in row 3, which means 9 in box 2 must go here. And using these two 9s, 9 can be narrowed down to these two cells, but 9 is here. So which means we get the 9 here and that forces the 9 here. So we have made a steady start to the Sudoku. We have got all the 9s. Now let us try to look at the 8s. As I can see quite a few 8s also in the grid. So 8 in row 4 and row 6 and 8 in column 7 and column 8, we get a classic 8, straight classic part. And focusing on the 8s now, 8 cannot be in row 9. So which means 8 in box 7 must go into one of these two cells, right? Can we have the 8 here? We will have a 1 here then to satisfy the arrow rule. Can we have the 8 here? No, right? Because if you have the 8 here, then this becomes part of the total and you need to have the circle either at this cell, row 6 column 2 or row 8 column 4. So which means we must have a digit greater than 8 which is 9 either here or here. So both are not possible now. So 8 can be eliminated from here. So which means 8 has to go here and to satisfy the arrow rule we have the 1. So why don't I put like this? Let me put a Sudoku arrow to make the things clear. Okay, so we have determined that this end is the 9. So which means that the rest of the digits must add up to the 9. So the remaining digits in box 7 are 4 and 5. We can just pencil mark them. And this is part of the arrow. We don't know which one is going to contain the larger digit or rather the sum part of the arrow. Let us focus on the 8s now. 8 in column 1 and column 2. So which means that 8 must go into one of these two cells. But can an 8 be here? So if you were to have an 8 in the middle of the line here, either this end or this end will be containing the circle part. Regardless of whichever end contains the circle, the minimum total we will be getting is, assuming that this end is the circle, we will get 1 plus 1 plus 2. right, which is 4 plus 8, which is 12. So that is a contradiction, right? We can have a maximum of 9 only. So you can eliminate the 8 from here. So 8 has to go here, and which means that 8 in row 3 must go into one of these two cells because of these two 8s and this 8. And similarly 8 in row 8 and row 9 gives the 8 to one of these three cells, and there is an 8 here, so which means 8 must go into one of these two cells. And I don't think we can resolve the remaining 8s, so we'll try to focus on something else now. Why don't we focus on the 7s? We have focused on the 9s and the 8s. Now let us see the 7s. So 7 in column 2 and column 3, which means 7 must go into one of these two cells. There is a 7 in row 1, which means that 7 must go into one of these three cells. This box seems quite constricted. We have 4 digits and also a line, right? So let us focus on that. Now can we have the 7 here? No, right? If you were to have the 7 here, then either this end will contain the circle or this end will contain the circle and must be either 8 or 9. But both 8 and 9 are ruled out, right? So if 7 were to be part of the sum, this cell or this cell will contain 8 or 9. So both are ruled out, so this cell cannot be a 7. And using classic rules now, we can narrow down 7 to one of these two cells. Can you have the 7 here? No, right? If you look closely, if you were to have the 7 here, 7 becomes part of the total, and regardless of whether you have the circle at this end or this end, you will reach up a total greater than 9. So let us assume the circle is here. So 7 plus 1 is 8, and the minimum digit here is 1 and 2, which is 3. So already we are reaching a total greater than 9. So 7 cannot be here. Regardless of whether the circle is here or here, 7 cannot go here, right? Simple to see. So you get the 7 here, and 7 cannot be in column 5 now, and 7 cannot be in row 7. So which means that 7 has 3 possibilities, right? Can you have the 7 here? We have already deduced that an 8 is going to be here, which basically means that this cell is the sum of the other cells, because you cannot have 8 as part of the sum and put a circle here, because the total will be 11 then, minimum 11. So which means that this end is going to be the circle part and the other digits will be part of the sum. So let us make it more clear by drawing the Sudoku arrow, as we have already deduced that this cell is going to be the circle cell. Now if you look at this arrow, obviously you can't have a 7 and satisfy the 8. So which means that we can remove the 7 from here, and we have 2 possibilities left for the 7. You can very well have the 7 here, because then this cell will be 3 or 2. So the 7s I don't think can be resolved now in box 8. Let us try to focus on something else now. This arrow seems to be quite restricted. So you have a 2 and 3 in row 8. So which means that this cell can be a 1 or 4. 6 and anything above will violate the 8, right? If you have 6 here, then you will reach at least 9. So you can have a maximum of 1 or 4 or 5, right? But 5 is not going to be there. So this is going to either be 1 or 4. Any other digit there and it will violate the arrow. Can you have the 4 here? If you have the 4 here, then because of the 1 here, the minimum digit here will be 2, and then both of these cells must be 1. Which is quite possible. 4, 2, 1 and 1, right? Which is quite possible. So let us leave that for now. But we know for sure that we can have a maximum of 4 here. Let us try to focus on this line, because it is larger. The rest of the lines are only 3 cells in length. So let us try to focus on this line. If we can establish which end of the line is the circle, it will be of tremendous help to us. So can this cell be the circle? You can have a maximum of 7 here, because 8 and 9 here. So this can very well be. Let us look at this end. You can have a maximum of 6 here, right? Because 7, 8 and 9 are not possible. So if this cell were the circle, you can have a maximum of 6. And then what is the sum of these digits? Minimum. So you have a 1 here, so this will be 2 minimum. and you have a 1 and a 2 here, this will be 3 minimum. And you will have a minimum of 3 from this 2 cells, which means that you cannot have the circle cell in row 1 column 5. Beautiful, right? Because if you have the maximum possible digit there, still the total is more than the digit here. So which means this cell cannot be the circle cell. This cell would have to be the circle cell. So let us draw the Sudoku arrow now for more clarity. Right? So whatever comes here will be the sum of the digits in the rest of the cells. Right? This should help, I think. So we'll have minimum 3 here, right? And we'll have minimum 3 here, and we'll have minimum 1 here. Wow, just look at this deduction, guys. So you will have a maximum of 7 here, right? 8 and 9 are not possible, so you'll have a maximum of 7, and the minimum total from the arrow stem is also 7. So when minimum is equal to maximum, then that is the only possible option left to us. So you have a 1 here, so this will be minimum 2, and this will be minimum 1, and 1 and 2 will give a minimum of 3 here, and this will also be minimum 1. So which means that 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 plus 1 is 7. So these are the only possible digits that can go along the arrow. Beautiful, right? So this is 7, this is 1, this is a 3, this is a 2, and this is a 1. We have got a whole lot of digits now. So now where do we go? Column 3 looks more restricted. So 1, 2, 9, 3, 7, 8. Remaining digits are 4, 5 and 6. We can pencil mark them. And row 2 also looks very restricted now. 3 is here, which means 3 can't go into these 2 cells. So 3 would have to go here, right? And remaining digits are 4 and 5 using classic. And these 2 digits must be 2 and 6, right? But we have a 6 in column 2, so which means this will be 2 and this will be a 6. And the only digit left here is going to be a 2, because 2 is in column 2 and column 3, so this will be a 2. And these 2 digits must be 3, 4, 5 for column 2, right? 1, 2, 9 and 6, 7, 8. So these 2 must be 3, 4 and 5. Okay, let's look at row 1, which seems very restricted now. 6, 7, 9, 1, 5 and 8. So remaining are 2, 3 and 4. But you have a 3 here, which means that 3 can't go into these 2 cells. So 3 must go here. And these 2 cells must be 2 and 4. What a fun to solve Sudoku, guys. Really amazing solve path. Very fun to solve. So remaining digits are 5 and 7, which we can put it here. And 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9. So remaining are 4, 6 and 8. 8 is here. So this will be 4, 6. This will be 4, 6, 8. And this will be a 4, 6 or 8. So look at this 9. So which means that our Sudoku arrow is going to look like this. So which means we can write the possibilities now in this cell. If you have a 7, so this will be a 2. And if you have a 5, you will have a 4 here. Okay, you have a 2 here, right? You can straight away eliminate the 2. So which means that this is going to be a 4, this will be a 5, and this will be a 7. Four here eliminates the 4 from here, so this will be 5 or a 6. And let us look at row 4 now, which seems to be very restricted. Why I am saying is that already 5 digits are there, and there are some 2 cells covered by lines. So 1, 2, 8, 4 and 9, remaining digits are 3, 5, 6 and 7. So you can't have a 3 here, so this is a 5, 6 and 7. And this can't be a 5, so this is 3, 6 and 7. And you can't have a 5, 6 here, so this is a 3 or a 7. Let us look at this cell for now. It seems to be very restricted. Because of the presence of 8, 9 in column 5 and 8, 9 in column 7, the maximum digit that can be in the circle is going to be a 7 only. So which means that you can eliminate the 7 from this cell. You can't have a 7 there, because that means 8 or 9 must be in the end of the line, and both 8 and 9 are ruled out from both the cells. Can you have a 6 here? If you were to have a 6 here, then this circle, this cell cannot be the circle. This would have to be the circle, and this would have to be the 7, because 8 and 9 are ruled out. But 7 is also not possible, so you can't have the 6 here, right? So this would have to be 3, and that gives a 7 here, which means this is 5 or 6. Superb, right? The solve is really fantastic. Because of the 3's in column 4 and column 6 now, and row 7 and row 8, we get the 3 in row 9 using classic rule. And now this pencil mark is going to help us. We have the 8 here, and if you have to have the 4 here, and minimum digits will be 2 here, so 3 plus 4 plus 2 will be 9, which is going to be a violation. So this would have to be a 1. And 1 in columns 5 and 6 gives the 1 in one of these two cells. And if you have the 1 here, we have already deduced that this is the circle. So if you have the 1 here, this must be 8, which is not going to be possible. So let me draw the Sudoku arrow. So you can't have the 1 here. So 1 has to go here. So one more small clarification I wish to add here is that as per solving, you do not need to draw the circle and put the arrows. I am just doing it for clarity's sake. So it is up to you whether you want to do this. It's just for simplicity. There is a 1 in row 4 and row 5 and 1 in column 9, so which means 1 must go into one of these two cells. So if you have a 4 from these two cells, so which means these two cells must add up to 4 to satisfy the 8. So this can be a maximum of 3, so it can only be 1, 2, 3, but 3 is here, so this is 1 or 2. And if you have the 1 here, this will be a 3, and if you have the 2 here, this will be a 2. But we know that 3 is not going to be there, right? So which means that this cell cannot be a 1. So this would have to be a 2 and this would have to be a 2. Digits may repeat along an arrow. There is no restriction as far as the rules are concerned. There is a 2 in row 4 and row 6, which means that 2 must go into one of these two cells. And now column 7 seems very restricted. 5, 6 and 7, 2, 8 and 9. Remaining digits are 1, 3, 4. This can't be a 2. So this is a 4, this is a 2. And these two cells must be 1 and 3. And these two cells must be 5 and 6. Beautiful Sudoku, guys. What a wonderful solve path. It is often fun to solve such Sudokus, and it also tremendously improves you as a solver. Such pretty logical solving path. So there is a 1 in row 4 and row 5, which gives us the 1 here. We can resolve this 1, 3 pair in box 6. So this is a 1 and this is a 3. Now which means that this cell has to be the circle, because this cell cannot be the circle. You have a 3 here, 3 here. So we can draw the Sudoku arrow now. Oh, what am I doing? So this has to be 6 now to satisfy the arrow part. 3 plus 3 is 6, and these two cells must be 4 and 8, right? So which area do we need to focus on now? Let us look at column 6, which seems to be restricted. 3, 8, 9, 1, 2, 7. Remaining digits are 4, 5 and 6. There is a 5, 6 here, so this will be 4, 5, 6, and 6 is here, so this is a 4 and a 5. And now we get a pair in row 9. After we made this pencil mark, immediately we can spot this pair. So remaining digits are 1, 6, 9, 3, 8, 4 and 5. Remaining are 2 and 7. There is a 2 here, so this 2 cannot be here, so this would have to be a 2. And which pushes the 7 here, because 7 was restricted to one of these two cells. So 7 is pushed here, and we get the 7 here. Because of the 2 7s here, we get the 7 here. And now we can resolve this line. This is going to be the Sudoku arrow, or rather the circle. So if you have a 4 here, you have a 3 here. If you have the 5 here, you need to have a 2 here, but 2 is already here. So which means that we can resolve this line. This is a 4, this is a 3. And that gives us a 5 here, which gives us a 4 and a 5 here, and which completes the column 2 now. And this 5 gives us a 4 here. And these two cells must be 5, 6 now. Beautiful solve path, guys. Amazing arrow, or rather broken arrow Sudoku. So 1, 2, 9, 3 and 8 and 5, 6 along row 6. Remaining digits are 4 and 7. But 7 is in column 4, so this would have to be the 7. And this would have to be the 4. Which means that we can resolve this line now. So this would have to be a 5. And this line can be resolved now, because this can't be the circle. This would have to be the circle, right? And if you have a 5 here, this would be a 2. A 6 can't be there, because that gives us a 1 here. So which means that this is going to be a 5. This is going to be a 2. And we can complete box 5 now. So this would have to be a 6, right? And this 5 gives us a 6 and a 5 here. Gives us a 6 and a 5 here. And finishes off column 9 now. And 4 here finishes this box. And this 8 gives us an 8 here. and these two cells must be 4 and 6, right? Only possible digits left. So this would be a 6 and this would be a 4, and these two cells must be 1 and 6, right? But 1 is here, so this would be a 1 and this would be a 6. So we have completed this Broken Arrow Sudoku. Amazing solve path, right? I hope you guys had fun watching me solve this Broken Arrow Sudoku, which was a twist to the Arrow Sudoku. Please do try to solve the other Sudokus from the contest. They are all wonderful. And let us know in comments if you have any specific Sudoku or puzzle that you want us to solve. And remember to subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Hope to see you all soon.